Polis, plural poleis, literally means city in Greek. It can also mean citizenship and body of citizens. In modern historiography, polis is normally used to indicate the ancient Greek city-states, like Classical Athens and its contemporaries, and thus is often translated as city-state. The ancient Greek city-state developed during the Archaic period as the ancestor of city-state and citizenship, and persisted well into Roman times, when the equivalent Latin word was civitas, also meaning citizenhood, while municipium applied to a non-sovereign local entity. The term city-state, which originated in English, does not fully translate the Greek term. The poleis were not like other primordial ancient city-states like Tyre or Sidon, which were ruled by a king or a small oligarchy, but rather political entities ruled by the bodies of citizens. The traditional view of archaeologists that the appearance of urbanization at excavation sites could be read as a sufficient index for the development of a polis was criticized by François Polignac in 1984 and has not been taken for granted in recent decades. The polis of Sparta, for example, was established in a network of villages. The term polis, which in archaic Greece meant city, changed with the development of the governance center in the city to signify state. Finally, with the emergence of a notion of citizenship among landowners, it came to describe the entire body of citizens. The ancient Greeks did not always refer to Athens, Sparta, Thebes, and other polis as such. They often spoke instead of the Athenians, Lacedaemonians, Thebans, and so on. The body of citizens came to be the most important meaning of the term polis in ancient Greece. The Greek term that specifically meant the totality of urban buildings and spaces is sigma tau upsilon. The polis in ancient Greek philosophy. Plato analyzes the polis in the Republic, whose Greek title, Pio Micron Lambda Iota Tau Epsilon Iota Alpha, itself derives from the word polis. The best form of government of the polis for Plato is the one that leads to the common good. The philosopher king is the best ruler because, as a philosopher, he is acquainted with the form of the good. In Plato's analogy of the ship of state, the philosopher king steers the polis as if it were a ship in the best direction. Book CIV of the Republic are concerned with Plato addressing the make-up of an ideal polis. In the Republic, Socrates is concerned with the two underlying principles of any society: mutual needs and differences in aptitude. Starting for these two principles, Socrates deals with the economic structure of an ideal polis. According to Plato, there are 5 main economic classes of any polis: producers, merchants, sailors, ship owners, retail traders, and wage earners. Along with the 2 principles and 5 economic classes, there are 4 virtues. The 4 virtues of a just city include wisdom, courage, moderation, and justice. With all of these principles, classes, and virtues, it was believed that a just city would exist. Archaic and classical polis. The basic and indicating elements of a polis are self-governance, autonomy, and independence. Agora, the social hub and financial marketplace, on and around a centrally located, large open space. Acropolis, the citadel, inside which a temple had replaced the erstwhile Mycenaean Anactoron or Megaron. Greek urban planning and architecture: public, religious, and private. Temples, altars, and sacred precincts. One or more are dedicated to the poliochos, the patron deity of the city. Each polis kept its own particular festivals and customs. Priests and priestesses, although often drawn from certain families by tradition, did not form a separate collegiality or class. They were ordinary citizens who on certain occasions were called to perform certain functions. Gymnasia, theaters, walls, used for protection from invaders, coins, minted by the city, and bearing its symbols, colonies being founded by the oikos of the metropolis. Political life. It revolved around the sovereign ecclesia, the standing bull and other civic and judicial councils, the archons and other officials or magistrates elected either by vote or by lot, clubs, etc., and sometimes punctuated by stasis. They practiced direct democracy. Publication of state functions, laws, decrees, and major fiscal accounts were published, and criminal and civil trials were also held in public. Syncretism, conurbation, absorption of nearby villages and countryside, and the incorporation of their tribes into the substructure of the polis. Many of the polis citizens lived in the suburbs or countryside. The Greeks regarded the polis less as a territorial grouping than as a religious and political association. While the polis would control territory and colonies beyond the city itself, the polis would not simply consist of a geographical area. Most cities were composed of several tribes or phyli, which were in turn composed of phratries, and finally genia. Social classes and citizenship. Dwellers of the polis were generally divided into four types of inhabitants, with status typically determined by birth. Citizens with full legal and political rights, that is, free adult men born legitimately of citizen parents. They had the right to vote, be elected into office, and bear arms, and the obligation to serve when at war. Citizens without formal political rights but with full legal rights. The citizens' female relatives and underage children, whose political rights and interests were meant to be represented by their adult male relatives. Citizens of other polis who chose to reside elsewhere, though free-born and possessing full rights in the place of origin. They had full legal rights but no political rights in the place of residence. Metics could not vote, be elected to office, bear arms, or serve in war. They otherwise had full personal and property rights, albeit subject to taxation. Slaves, chattel in full possession of their owner, and with no privileges other than those that their owner would grant at will. Hellenistic and Roman. During the Hellenistic period, which marks the decline of the classical polis, the following cities remained independent. Sparta until 195 BC after the war against Nabis. Achaean League is the last example of original Greek city-state federations. The Cretan city-states continued to be independent until the conquest of Crete in 69 BC by Rome. The cities of Magna Graecia, with the notable examples of Syracuse and Tarentum, were conquered by Rome in the late 3rd century BC. There are also some cities with recurring independence like Samos, Priene, Miletus, and Athens. A remarkable example of a city-state that flourished during this era is Rhodes, through its merchant navy, until 43 BC in the Roman conquest. The Hellenistic colonies and cities of the era retain some basic characteristics of a polis, except the status of independence and the political life. There is self-governance, but under ruler and king. The political life of the classical era was transformed into an individualized religious and philosophical view of life. Demographic decline forced the cities to abolish the status of metic and bestow citizenship. In 228 BC, Miletus enfranchised over 1,000 Cretans. Dime sold its citizenship for 1 talent, payable in 2 installments. The foreign residents in a city are now called paroikoi. In an age when most political establishments in Asia are kingdoms, the Chrysaorian League in Caria was a Hellenistic federation of polis. During the Roman era, some cities were granted the status of a polis, or free city, self-governed under the Roman Empire. The last institution commemorating the Old Greek polis was the Panhellenion, established by Hadrian. Derived words, derivatives of polis are common in many modern European languages. This is indicative of the influence of the polis-centered Hellenic worldview. Derivative words in English include policy, polity, police, and politics. In Greek, words deriving from polis include polites and politismos, whose exact equivalents in Latin, Romance, and other European languages, respectively civis, civilizatio, etc., have similarly derived. A number of words end in polis. Most refer to a special kind of city and/or state. Examples include astropolis, a star-scaled city, industry area, a complex space station, a European star-related festival, cosmopolis, a large urban center with a population of many different cultural backgrounds, a novel written by Don DeLeo, ecumenopolis, a city that covers an entire planet, usually seen in science fiction, megalopolis, created by the merging of several cities and the suburbs, metropolis, the mother city of a colony, the see of a metropolitan archbishop, a metropolitan area, necropolis, a graveyard, technopolis, a city with high-tech industry, a room of computers, the internet. Others refer to part of a city or a group of cities, such as Acropolis, the upper part of a polis, often a citadel and/or the site of major temple. Decapolis, a group of 10 cities. Dodecapolis, a group of 12 cities. Pentapolis, a group of 5 cities. Tripolis, a group of 3 cities retained in the names of Tripoli in Libya in Greece, and a namesake in Lebanon. Names Polis, Cyprus. Located on the northwest coast of Cyprus is the town of Polis, or Polis Chrysikis, situated within the Paphos district and on the edge of the Archamas Peninsula. During the Cypro-classical period, Polis became one of the most important ancient Cypriot city kingdoms on the island, with important commercial relations with the eastern Aegean islands, Attica and Corinth. The town is also well known due to its mythological history, including the site of the baths of Aphrodite. Other cities. The names of several other towns and cities in Europe and the Middle East have contained the suffix polis since antiquity and currently feature modernized spellings, such as pol. Notable examples include Acropolis, Athens, Greece, although not of city polis by itself, but a fortified citadel that consisted of functional buildings and the temple in honor of the city sponsoring god or goddess. The Athenian Acropolis was the most famous of all acropolises in the ancient Greek world, and its main temple was the Parthenon, in honor of Athena Parthenos. Adrianopolis or Adrianople, present-day Edirne, Turkey. Adrianopolis, Brazil. Alexandropolis, Greece. Alexandropol, currently Gyumri, Armenia. Antipolis, the former name for Antibes, France. Constantinopolis or Constantinople, the former name for Istanbul, Turkey. Istanbul, Turkey. Heliopolis in ancient and modern Egypt, Lebanon, and Greece. Heracleopolis, Egypt. Hermopolis, several cities in Egypt and on Syros Island. Hierakonpolis, Egypt. Hierapolis, several cities in the Hellenistic world, in particular Hierapolis in southwestern Turkey. Megalopolis, Greece. Mariupol, Ukraine. Neapolis, several, including the modern cities of Nablus and Naples, and the adjective Neapolitan. Nicopolis, Emmaus in Israel. Lithopolis, Latin name for Kamnik, Slovenia. Persepolis, Iran. Sevastopol, Crimea, Ukraine. Southopolis, Bulgaria. Simferopol, Crimea, Ukraine. Sozopol, Bulgaria. Stavropol, Russia. Tiraspol, Moldova. The names of other cities were also given the suffix polis after antiquity, either referring to ancient names or unrelated. Anápolis, Goiás, Brazil. Annapolis, Maryland, United States. Biopolis, Singapore. Cambisopolis, Turkey. Christianople, Sweden. Copperopolis, California, United States. Coraopolis, Pennsylvania, United States. Florianopolis, Santa Catarina, Brazil. Gallipolis, Ohio, United States. Indianapolis, Indiana, United States. Kannapolis, North Carolina, United States. Lithopolis, Ohio, United States. Minneapolis, Minnesota, United States. Opolis, Kansas, United States. Petropolis, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Penápolis, São Paulo, Brazil. Quirinópolis, Goiás, Brazil. Sebastopol, California, United States. Sophia Antipolis, France. Teresopolis, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Teutopolis, Illinois, United States. Uniopolis, Ohio, United States. Thermopolis, Wyoming, United States. Borazopolis, Parana, Brazil. Some cities have also been given nicknames ending with the suffix polis, usually referring to the characteristics. Swansea, United Kingdom, once dubbed Copperopolis due to its vast production of the metal. Manchester, United Kingdom, nicknamed Cottonopolis during the 19th century due to its status as an industrial centre for cotton spinning. Middlesbrough, United Kingdom, known as Ironopolis during Victorian times because of the area's production of pig iron. Gallipoli, city in Apulia, Italy. It probably means beautiful city.